Welcome back everyone. My name is Remy and this is a new video series on Myth, the board game by Megacon Games. In this series I'll try and show you all the specifics about the heroes. So this new series is entitled Meet the Heroes. I'll try to keep these videos pretty short, so around 10 minutes each, but in each of them I'll try to go over each hero's different mechanic and every hero cards and also the how they interact with the items meant for those heroes. So this should, or the target audience of these videos is either people confused by some of the hero cards or new players coming to play with you that haven't played yet and don't know the rules or just know parts of it. So this won't cover the whole thing. You should refer to my old video series on Myth, even though it's about the first edition. These videos will include the second edition cards for each heroes, but I mean 99% of what I said in the first series is still valid in the second edition. So the first series is more focused for the people owning the game and trying to teach the game to their friends. This one is for them also, but also for their friends who need to figure out how to play the hero and maybe some strategy or tactics for each hero as we go along. So, and like I said, we will go over the novice cards and the advanced cards because that's what's out for now. Eventually, when the Journeyman expansion comes out, I'll try and do the same thing that I'm doing right now, but for the Journeyman cards. Before we start talking about each heroes individually, I'd like to take a few minutes now and just go over the basic concepts of playing a hero in Myth, so that everyone's on the same level before we start adding up things for each hero. The first thing you need to pay attention to is the symbol at the bottom of the card that tells you what type of card that card is. So it could be either an action if the top arrow is red, a reaction if the bottom arrow is red, an interrupt if the bottom arrow is red with that darkness symbol on it. So those are the three types of cards in the game. The first two, the actions and the reactions, can only be played during the hero cycle, and the third type, the interrupt, can only be played during the darkness cycle. So this is fairly important. Also to know, the action cards you can only play one action card per hero cycle, so you really need to choose the right one if you have more than one in your hand for a given hero cycle. Next thing to look at are the movement modifiers at the left of the card. These modifiers will tell you, first of all, if you can play the given card depending on the movement you've spent or you plan to spend for the rest of the cycle. So very important, you need to, before you start playing cards in your hero cycle, you need to figure out if you need to move or not during this cycle, and if so, by how many spaces, and will you play movement cards. So if you don't plan to move and haven't moved yet, you can play any card that has the first symbol colored. If it's grayed out, then you can't play that card without moving. The second symbol is the cautious move symbol. This means you can only move up to half of your total movement points for the cycle. We'll go more over what movement points are later on. Just know for now, this means you can spend up to half of your movement points for the cycle. The third one is a full move. So if you move anywhere between half of your movement points and the total value of your movement points for the cycle, then this is the symbol you have to look at. And if you play any card that has the move keyword on it, so those are movement cards, they allow you to move more spaces during a cycle. Whether you actually spend those movement points or not is not really important at this stage. Just know if you play a move card, then you need to look at the last movement modifier on the card to know if you can play it or not, and if that type of movement will give you any bonuses or penalties to a given check. Now, it's important to know that without playing a hero card, the only thing you can do during a given hero cycle is spend up to 2 movement points, which are the basic hero's movement points. That can change later on. For now, every hero has 2 movement points at the start of the game. So the only thing you can do without playing a hero card is actually spend those 2 movement points. So they can you can spend them to move 1 space, or you can use them to do a non-combat action. Either way you spend it, it's considered, if you spend 1 with your basic 2 movement points, then you're considered to be moving cautiously for the cycle. And if you spend the other one again doing another non-combat action or another movement point, then you're doing a normal move for the turn. Now, for the basic concepts of an attack, when you play a hero card, you're gonna have, among other things, to build a dice pool. The way you build a dice pool in Myth is, first of all, you need to figure out what item on your hero you're gonna use for that attack. So you need to really look at the keywords on your attack card and match that keyword with the keyword on an item, an equipped item you have. So for an example, if your attack card says weapon, then you need to look at your main hand card that should have the keyword weapon. If it's for the soldier, the offhand is usually a shield. So if your attack card says shield on it, then you need to use your shield dice to add it to your dice pool. So, and also some items, the armor slot, the head slot, and the accessory slot can give you some additional dice, and those dice are for any type of attacks. So you'll get them either whether you're attacking with your main hand or offhand weapon. So the first thing you have to do when you're building a dice pool is actually grab the basic your hero dice. So at the novice level, every hero has 1 d10 and 1 fate dice. That's their basic dice pool. So you grab those dice, and then you add whatever your weapon or offhand, depending on the attack card, grants you. So let's say it grants me an extra d10. So now I have 2 d10 and a fate dice. And my other items could give me, like I said, more dice. In this case, let's say they don't. And the last thing you have to look at is the actual hero card, because some card in the power description will right away tell you to add an extra d10 or 2 extra d10 or fate dice, and then you have to look at the movement modifier at the left of the card to see if that either removes dice from your dice pool or adds some to them, or changes the target number you need to reach with your dice pool. More on that later. And lastly, figure out if either some other of your cards or other players' cards can help you along. The Acolyte is probably the best hero for that. He usually buffs other heroes. So pay attention, especially to the Acolyte. He might be able to help you out, grant you extra dice. So let's say for now my dice pool is 2 d10 and 1 fate dice. The most important rule to know about attacking, and I guess a lot of people miss that one. 1 hero card means 1 dice pool, which you'll roll only once. No matter how many enemies you're attacking, no matter anything, you're gonna roll your dice pool once if you play 1 hero card. So that's the basic attack rule. So roll that dice pool, and then you need to match the defense target number of the enemy you're attacking with at least 1 of the die. So if you do, then great, you deal damage mentioned on your hero attack card, and then you have to look at your fate dice and see if the symbol you roll matches the symbol on the item you used for your attack. So again, if you used your fireplace poker for the soldier, then look at the fireplace poker. If you use your shield when you're a soldier, look at your shield to see if you can trigger that fate dice recipe. Once your attack is resolved, you need to add 1 threat to your hero per damage actually dealt to enemies. So even if your attack was dealing 3 damage to a minion, and that minion only has 1 hit point or 1 vitality, then you actually only gain 1 threat, not 3. Also, if you were attacking more than one enemy at once with your hero card and you dealt 1 damage to 3 different enemy, then you would gain 3 threat. The other thing to know about the dice pool is if you attack more than one enemy, so if you have an area of effect attack card, you need to figure out how many dice you actually need to spend to hit each different enemy. So usually you need to spend 1 d10, 1 hit die per monster type per rank. So that means if you are fighting 5 different grubbers with a single attack card, you actually only need to spend 1 die to hit all of them or miss all of them. If you attack 1 mucker and 1 grubber, since they're both the same monster type but they have 2 different ranks, then you need to spend 1 die per combination, so per monster type and per rank. So fighting 1 grubber and 1 mucker needs 2 dice. Fighting 3 muckers and 5 grubbers also only needs 2 dice. If some monster in the same monster type and rank combination happen to have different target number for defense because of other cards played by some hero or your own attack card that decreases or increases the target number of only some of the enemies, then you can still only spend 1 die if that die matches the highest target number for all the monster type and rank. If that die isn't high enough to hit all of them, then you can apply it to only the minions or the enemies that have a lower target number. So you could actually kill, let's say, 2 grubbers out of 4 if only 2 of them had a target number of 5 and the other 2 had a target number of 6, and you roll a 5. You decide, you don't really decide, I mean, you apply it to the 2 guys that have a 5. If you roll a single 6, then you can get rid of all 4. And an important rule about area of effect attack cards is, or are, I should say there are a few. The first one is large monsters, even though they occupy more than 1 space, are only hit once per attack, no matter what. So let's say a grubber or a mucker, that occupies 4 spaces. If you attack him with Blood of Gaia, he would still only get hit 1 time, even if more than 1 of his spaces are within the pattern of attack. The second one is their friendly fire is on in this game, my friends. So if one of the hero is within the area of your attack, you don't need to spend a die, you don't need to do anything, he gets hit automatically. So you apply damage to that hero no matter what, even if you missed everybody on your dice pool, you still hit all the heroes within your area of effect. And the last thing is that most of the time, and I know this can be a bit confusing, so we'll go over it card by card in the next videos, but most of the time you only need line of sight to the actual space you're targeting. So again, with Blood of Gaia, if you're targeting 1 space and the rest of the spaces or some of the spaces are not within line of sight because of an enemy in front of you or a wall or anything, you can still do the attack and affect the spaces you don't see, as long as you can see the original space you're attacking. Alright, so that wraps this up for this first video on the Meet the Heroes. If you have more questions or more concerns about general rules or how to actually play the heroes in more details, refer back to my first series. I'll put the link in the comments. And hopefully you enjoyed this new format for my videos, and we'll see you soon with the first hero will be the soldier.